Good evening. Ramakrishna Math, Bhubaneswar welcomes all our guests to the spiritual retreat on 19th November 2025. The subject of our retreat today is Vedanta in our day-to-day life. Our program will start with an opening song sung by the students of Brahmananda Chhatravash.
परम गुरु सिद्ध जोगी मातृ
Thank you, students. The song was written by Kaji Nazrul Islam. Now we request revered Swami Atmaprabhanandaji Maharaj to offer a flower bouquet to revered Swami SARVAPRIYANANDA Maharaj as a token of our appreciation. Now, we request Swami Sarvamangalanandaji Maharaj to give the welcome address.
ओम जगदानंद कंदाय पनतार्ति हराय च नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने जय जगन्नाथ महाप्रभु। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। मु प्रथमे ए विवेकानंद हलर मंचरे उपस्थित भुवनेश्वर रामकृष्ण मठर अध्यक्ष स्वामी आत्मप्रभानंदजी महाराज को भूमिष्ठ प्रणाम निवेदन करुछि। भूमिष्ठ प्रणाम निवेदन करी मंचासीन अमेरिकार न्यूयॉर्क वेदांत सोसाइटीर मिनिस्टर इंचार्ज स्वामी सर्वप्रियानंदजी महाराज को श्रीचरणे सकल उपस्थित वरिष्ठ सन्यासी महाराज मान को जनाऊँगी मोर भूमिष्ठ प्रणाम एवं सकल साधु मान को जनाऊँगी नमस्कार। उपस्थित सकल विशिष्ट अतिथि अभ्यागत भक्त और श्री रामकृष्ण अनुरागी विदों को उद्देश्य आम श्रद्धा नमस्कार प्रीति और शुभेच्छा निवेदन करुछि। आजिर ए स्मरणीय शुभ सन्धारे आमे हल रे उपस्थित होइछु स्वामी सर्वप्रियानंदजी महाराजंकर ठारू वेदांत इन आवर डे टू डे लाइफ विषय रे वक्तृता सुनिबा पाए। तांकर विशेष परिचय अलगा करी देवार प्रयोजन नाही, कारण गतकाली ही स्वामी आत्मप्रभानंदजी महाराज तांकर स्वागत भाषण रे ताहा प्रदान करिसेंती। पूजनीय स्वामी सर्वप्रियानंदजी महाराज गत वर्ष मध्य ठीक यही समय रे एठारे उपस्थित होइथिले एवं आमे बहुत आनंदित एई वर्ष मध्य महाराज को आमे पाइछु। एकता नुहाकुरे कोईबार अपेक्षा राखे नहीं जे वर्तमान समय रे स्वामी सर्वप्रियानंदजी महाराज समग्र पृथ्वी व्यापी अद्वैत वेदांतर बाणी प्रचार क्षेत्र में एक बहु उच्चारित नाम। अद्वैत वेदांत को समाजर सर्वस्तर रे मनुष्य मानक मध्य सहज भाषा रे परिचित और जनप्रिय करिबारे तांकर भूमिका अद्वितीय। स्वामी सर्वप्रियानंदजी महाराज विगत प्राय एक दशक धरी अक्लांत भावे साधारण मनुष्यंकर बोधगम्य भाषा उपनिषदर बाणी विश्व दरबार परिवेशन करि चलिछंती। एही परिवेशन क्षेत्र में तांकर सबुठ बड़ शक्ति है से जहाँ कहउछंती सेही विषय रे तांकर गभीर दार्शनिक प्रत्यय एवं ईश्वर प्रदत्त व्यक्तिगत सारल्य जहाँ अति सहजरे जनसाधारण को आविष्ट करे एवं तांकर जे गुरु प्रदत्त नाम सर्वप्रियानंद अर्थात जे सकलंकर प्रिय एवं ईश्वरीय आनंदमय बा जे सर्वजनकर प्रिय होई आनंद रे अवस्थान करती से नामटी को मध्य महाराज सार्थक करिसंती। आमे निश्चित जे वर्तमान अमेरिका न्यूयॉर्क वेदांत सोसाइटी मिनिस्टर इंचार्ज स्वामी सर्वप्रियानंदजी महाराजंकर आजिर वक्तृता मध्य एठारे व्यतिक्रम हेब नाही। आमे आज समस्ते आनंदित जे आम मानक गहन आम आह्वान राजी होई स्वामी सर्वप्रियानंदजी महाराज आज शुभ सन्धारे आपण मानक सम्मुख भाषण भगवानंकर कथा अनुध्यान करने को सम्मत होइछंती। समस्त पक्षरु तांको प्रति मु कृतज्ञता प्रकाश करुछि एवं आजिर शुभ सन्धारे भुवनेश्वर रामकृष्ण मठर पुण्य प्रांगण रे आपण माने समस्त को आंतरिक स्वागत जनाउछि। ମୁଁ ମୋର ଏହି ସ୍ୱାଗତ ଭାଷଣକୁ ମୁଁ ଆର ଦୀର୍ଘାୟିତ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁନି। ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆମେ ମହାରାଜଙ୍କ ନିକଟରେ ବକ୍ତୃତା ଶୁଣିବା। ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ପୁଣି ଥରେ ପ୍ରଣାମ, ଶ୍ରଦ୍ଧା ଓ ନମସ୍କାର ଜଣାଉଛି। ଓମ୍ ଶାନ୍ତି ଶାନ୍ତି ଶାନ୍ତି। ହରି ଓମ୍ ତତ୍ସତ୍।
Thank you, Maharaj.
आजिकार विषय है वेदांत इन आवर डे टू डे लाइफ। मु महाराज को छोटिया गोटे अनुरोध करी विषयटी दुई पद मु जोग करने की चाहूँगी। वेदांत इन आवर डे टू डे लाइफ विथ स्पेशल रेफरेंस टू द टीचिंग्स ऑफ श्री रामकृष्ण। ये दुईटी पद मु जोग करी अनुरोध जनाऊँगी। धन्यवाद।
ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Revered Swami Atmaprabhananda Ji Maharaj, other revered monks, devotees, esteemed guests, devotees and dear friends. So we meet once again in this forum to talk about Vedanta. Maharaj kaile tanko dita nivedan ko se to request no our pai, it's a command. When Maharaj says this, it's a command for us. So two things he has said. One, of course, Vedanta, but day-to-day life in the light of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna Drishtiru. I would say कहचन्नी मते personally बेसी ओडिया कहबो. I want to use Oriya, but the thing was yesterday there were a lot of people from other states they had come. But today I will use but adbhut mishra bhashare katha कहबी. English, Bangla, Oriya, Hindi, Sanskrit. So Aji जनक संगे देखा है this gentleman, he was accompanying me in a vehicle and he said very enthusiastically, जद्यपि मो विवाह करची मोर एई लाइन रे बहुत इंटरेस्ट अछि. Now you see, I have married, I am a householder, but I am very interested in spiritual life. But I am very interested. You see, this is the result of monopolization of Vedanta by monastics. For the last 1,500 years, Vedanta has become a kind of a monopoly of sannyasis, of scholars. It's something elite, not for everybody. And it's deep-rooted. So once in a while, very casually also, they will say that this feeling is there that Vedanta is for sannyasi manapai. And for us, maybe the popular religion. Ame Bhagavan pakhre mundiya mariva, puja, home, archana adi kariva. This is our religion. That is not true. It's an unfortunate consequence. Swami Vivekananda said that his mission is to bring the Vedanta, which was limited to a few monks and scholars, and scatter it among everybody. The Vedanta, which was limited to the forests and mountains, to spread it across the cities of the world. Boner Vedanta Shahare Niyasa. He said that was his message, to democratize Vedanta. I remember, little joke, humorous aside, I have a friend who is a very scholarly monk. And after our training, we are sent to different places. Our training in Belur Math, we are sent to different ashrams. So he was posted to an ashram in our Bastar district in central India, Madhya Pradesh actually, at that time, Chhattisgarh now. So it's a huge ashram. And there's a tremendous amount of work for tribal children. but it's in the middle of a dense forest. Now this Swami, ତାଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ବହୁତ ବେଦାନ୍ତର ବହି ଥିଲା। ସେ ଏତେ ବହି ନେଇକି ଯିବେ ସେଇଠି ଜଙ୍ଗଲରେ। ସେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ କ'ଣ କରିବି? ସ୍ୱାମୀଜୀ କହିଛନ୍ତି ଆମେ ବনের ବେଦାନ୍ତ ସହରେ, আমি শহরের বেদান্ত বনে নিয়ে চললাম। So Swami Vivekananda is this idea of democratizing Vedanta. If we go further back, we do not notice this tendency of limiting Vedanta only to a few people. Sri Krishna gives the Bhagavad Gita, which is the one most popular book of Vedanta. If you look at the books of Vedanta, the textual tradition of Vedanta, what do we find? The Upanishads. But the one book, if you ask, across the world, which is identified with Hinduism and with Vedanta, it will be Bhagavad Gita. Hands down, no comparison. And the Bhagavad Gita contains the, say, Upanishadra nirjasa setara achi. Sri Krishna sometimes directly udhrita karik dauchati Upanishadru, say Bhagavad Gita re. As if the Upanishads are cows and the Gita is the milk of the cows. And that Bhagavad Gita is taught by Sri Krishna to Arjuna. Both are householders. Both are married. Neither Sri Krishna is a sannyasi nor Arjuna is a sannyasi. It is not taught in an ashram. It is not taught in the mountains or caves. The Bhagavad Gita is taught in the battlefield. I think symbolically, deliberately, to show that if spirituality can be practiced in the battlefield, the worst activity that human beings can do. Worst activity. Because we are very lucky, we are in one sense, this age samasya thao. We are a very mature people. I am seeing the maturity of both sides. In Russia, Gaza, in America, I come across so many people. Number of people I've come across who are war veterans, who have been traumatized by war. Either they have been injured or semane kitte lokoku marchanti, and they have become traumatized mentally. So it's a terrible, terrible thing, war. And in this worst war, which is a civil war, bhainka vitara yuddha, Kurukshetra, in the middle of that, Bhagavad Gita is taught. Krishna expects Arjuna to practice spirituality, Vedanta, in the battlefield, not by becoming sannyasi. Arjuna wanted to become a sannyasi. He says that it's better to leave this bhikshacharya, to go become a holy wanderer and a beggar. It's better than killing others for a kingdom, for enjoying a kingdom. He wanted to become a sannyasi. And Krishna teaches him Vedanta right there in the battlefield and expects him to practice Vedanta in the battlefield. Swami Vivekananda says, this Vedanta was practical first, theory next. Amajo darshana, this very subtle logical analysis which we find in Vedanta texts, which is amazing, wonderful. But that comes later. First was the realization, which is put in the Upanishads. First was the great teachers of Vedanta, and Swami Vivekananda says many were Kshatriyas. Many of these Vedantins they were kings and emperors. And he says, they had tremendous responsibilities. Thare, this was in Calcutta. So you got a club, Calcutta Club. British Jamana seta hechi, and they are a little abhivitike British achan sevane. So once they invited me to give a talk. But I arrived a little early, audience asiva aguru. Tako dress code achi. So Indian dress, 8th in the dress pindi basichi, I can see the manager, assistants man dekhuchunti kotha hochunti bhitere. Ye kai babaji aschunti eti. And then they asked me, so apna kon pai aschunti? Then I said, I've come for this talk. Oh, I see, you go to that ballroom gote achi. Your venue is there. There was one lady there, middle-aged lady. Then we started talking. Just last week I went to Bardhaman University to give a lecture. She became very interested. Lecture I said, in the hall. Oh, she said, that was my room. Room? Room mane? Bada lecture hall. Room kimte hava. Then she said, I am the princess of Bardhaman. ମୋ ବାପା ରାଜା ଥିଲେ ବର୍ଦ୍ଧମାନଙ୍କର ସିଏ ସେଇଟା ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ୱାଜ୍ ଆୱାର ପ୍ୟାଲେସ୍ ଗୋଲାପବାଗ କ୍ୟାମ୍ପସ୍ ଯେଉଁଟା ଅବିକା ହେଇଛି ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟିର ସିଏ ଦେଇଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟିକୁ ସୋ ଆଇ ୱାଜ୍ ଭେରି ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟେଡ୍ ୱି ଟକ୍ ଫର୍ ସମ୍ ଟାଇମ୍ ତାପରେ ଲେକ୍ଚର ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା ଆଣ୍ଡ ୱେନ୍ ଦ ଲେକ୍ଚର ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟେଡ୍ ଆଇ ହ୍ୟାଡ୍ ପ୍ରିପେୟାର୍ଡ ଅଲରେଡ଼ି ପ୍ରିପେୟାର୍ଡ କରି ଯାହା ନ ଭାବିକି ଯାହା ସ୍ୱାମୀ ବିବେକାନନ୍ଦ କଥା ଏ ବେଦାନ୍ତ ୱାଜ୍ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ୍ଡ ଇନ୍ ଏନ୍ସିଏଣ୍ଟ ଟାଇମ୍ସ ବାଇ ଦ କିଙ୍ଗସ୍ ଆଣ୍ଡ କୁଇନ୍ସ and in those days kings and queens were people with real responsibility and power, not the symbolic figureheads who are found in today. आजकल जो मैंने से भाई नाम मात्र राजा रानी सब कहली न भाविकी सामने से बसचंती तांको पाखरे जो बसचंती से एमता करचन ताको symbolic figureheads. But it is true, people who are exceptionally busy, people say amaro samay nahi eso practice kariyar, where do I have the time? People who are exceptionally busy with exceptional responsibilities, they found the time to practice. If they found the time to practice, that means it's eminently practical. ସେମାନେ ବାଜ୍ୟ ଜିନିଷରେ ସମୟ ନଷ୍ଟ କରିବେନି because they have tremendous responsibilities. ରାଜା ମାନେ ମହାରାଜା ମାନେ ସମ୍ରାଟ ମାନେ they practiced it. Therefore Swami Vivekananda says if they could do it, we can very well do it. निश्चय में in whatever circumstance we are, we will be able to do it. Wherever, he says Vedanta, it should be able to help us wherever we are, whoever we are. He says in one place, if a religion cannot lift a piece of bread to the mouth of a starving person, cannot wipe the tears of a widow, and promises heaven after death, I don't care for such a religion. So wherever we are, whoever we are, you're a student, Vedanta should be able to help you. You are a housewife, Vedanta should be able to help you. You are a sannyasi in a mountain cave, Vedanta should be able to help you. You are engaged in politics, in social service, in education, Vedanta should be able to help you, 100%. This is what Vivekananda wanted. And this was the idea, the source of the Vedanta. Go back further beyond Bhagavad Gita also. The rishis of the Upanishadic age, many of them were householders. Many of them were married. The whole Vedanta tradition has come. There is sannyasi parampara, there is also grihastha parampara. Vedanta is practical, eminently practical for everybody. I remember last year, year before last, Kalikata gote ashramre, I was giving a talk on Vedanta. Like yesterday, we talked about the philosophical aspect of Vedanta. Kahiwa par ek question answer, one lady came up rather indignantly. She was so eager to ask the question. She came up and she said, "Ei sob bhalo katha." In Bengali, sob bhalo katha, kintu it was the theoretical katha sob. I said, "Madam, not one thing I have said is theory. Apanako deha achi, this body, is it theory or fact?" She said, "No, it's a fact." A dehare prana achi, take in breath, out breath. Is that theory or fact? It is a fact. Ta bhitere mana achi, apanako chinta achi, your aveg achi, your emotions, ideas, memories, is that theory or fact? No, that's a fact. Sei manara, sei amara deha manara anubhava hochi. We experience our body mind. Is that theory or fact? Is that theory or fact? And the lady said, it will be a fact. It might be a fact. So, Vedanta actually does not talk about theory. Bhakti tradition, Vishwas upar tiki achi. And that's a great thing to do. Yoga tradition, apanako anubhava hava, mystical experience, samadhi, taha is based on that, and that's also fine. But Vedanta is pratyaksha. What Vedanta talks about is a matter of fact right now, and it can help us. Swami Vivekananda gote jagare kahuchanti that the problem with religion is, it's like this example of a man on whose head a mosquito was sitting. He was troubled by a mosquito. And his friend came to help him and gave him such a blow, it killed the mosquito, but killed that man also. Amar religion bhi sei prakar. Jagat mithya, Brahma satya, hold on to Brahman. But this is not of much help to us. The only truth we know is this world. The only truth that I know are the people around me. The only truth that I know is I myself. What use is it to say, Isavu mithya, avu gote Brahma achi? It's like killing the man along with the mosquito. Kuhave Amugu says, that God alone is real. Let go of everything else. But it's like a suicidal advice, because this God, so-called Brahman, is a theoretical construct for us. Whereas the one thing which we are, the only thing that we regard as real, this life, this body, these people, how can I give all this up? How can I turn myself away from this for something theoretical? So, how to make Vedanta practical? Swami Vivekananda says, it can be made practical, and it has to be made practical. How can it be made practical, useful to everybody in day-to-day life? Sister Nivedita, Swami Vivekananda's complete work says, she has given an introduction, 2 or 3 pages, masterful introduction. Everybody should read that. Set up complete works of Parantu na Parantu, at least introduction within page, padhiya darkar. There she says that the crowning achievement, she says Gita, Upanishads, Vedanta was there before Vivekananda came. These are eternal truths, they will continue to be there. Before Sri Ramakrishna came, before Vivekananda came, Gita, Upanishads, they all were there. All these truths which Vivekananda taught, they were there. Then what is the unique teaching of Swami Vivekananda of Sri Ramakrishna? And Sister Nivedita says there, this is the crowning achievement of our master. She means Vivekananda. That the one and the many are the same reality. And that which we see as the world and that which is called Brahman are the same reality, seen in different perspectives. That which is Advaita, that which is Vishishtadvaita, that which is Dvaita are 3 readings of the same truth at different levels. What does this mean? This is very philosophical. But what does this mean? She says, in practical terms, what it means, there is no difference between our day-to-day life and Vedanta. We are talking about Vedanta and day-to-day life. She says, to renounce, to have and hold is as spiritual as to renounce. To labor is to pray. There is no difference, he says. The attitude is important. Not that every work will become prayer. Not that every grasping will become renunciation. No, the inner Vedanta se kaushala amaku dikhai. How in the middle of business, how in the middle of education, how in the middle of household life, raising a family, how can we be spiritual? As spiritual as the sannyasi sitting in a cave and meditating and immersed in samadhi. How is it possible? This is the magic of Vedanta. She says, the school teacher's school room, the shopkeeper's shop, the farmer's field, they become as fit meeting place of God and man as the cell of a monk or the doors of a temple. By this extraordinary spiritual technique. How is it done? We'll look at Sri Ramakrishna's, we'll take a look at what Sri Ramakrishna, his spiritual career, so to say. Very interesting. It starts with a tremendous urge to see God. This is the unique characteristic of Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, this empirical nature. If God exists, I should be able to see God. See, later on, when Narendranath Datta comes to Sri Ramakrishna, this question, have you seen God? Not, do you believe in God? Not, does God exist? Have you seen God? And Sri Ramakrishna's urge was, can I see God? Can I experience God? Practical question, not just believe in God. Can I experience God? He was given the job of Pujari, those who have gone to Dakshineshwar, Kali Mandir. So he was a worshipper of Kali there. But he felt, is this a stone image? Is there something living, spiritual, real here? Or is it all just belief? And he did every practice to the nth degree. He prayed and he wept before the image of Ma Kali, that another day has gone by. I still have not got your vision. Other great sadhakas in the past, you have shown your vision to them. Why will I not be able to see you? He would fall down on the bank of the Ganga, the river there, and rub his face till his face bled. People around him thought, he's a boy from a village, Kamarpukur, he's missing his mother. But he meant the mother of the universe. So that led him to the tremendous vision, the first vision of Kali, where Kali becomes, the Divine Mother becomes a reality for him. not just an article of faith, not just an image to be worshipped, not just something to be believed and prayed to, but actually a living presence. That Ma is real and present all the time and available all the time for us. God as mother. Swami Vivekananda says that I'm firmly convinced that in this universe there's this cosmic power which thinks of itself as female and as of all of us as her children. So that is the mother, the mother goddess, Shakti. Now here Sri Ramakrishna did not stop. That intense desire drove him forward. See, later on someone asked Sri Ramakrishna, what is the one condition of God realization? Eta thile Ishwar labha haba. Eta nathile habani. What is that one condition? And he said Vyakulata. Vyakulata, restlessness to see God. And you see the beauty about Sri Ramakrishna is, whatever he said, 100% he was that. His life and his words are exactly the same. Ko jagare se kichi theoretical katha ko nanti. Exactly what he has experienced, he speaks that. So he said Vyakulata. And that Vyakulata drove him forward. Not just God in the form of Kali. Radha Krishna. The 12 Shiva temples in Dakshineshwar to see God in the form of Mahadeva, Shiva. As the little Ramachandra, as the Ram Lala. The sadhu came with the Ram Lala image in which he worshipped, became a living presence. In these and many other ways. And culminating, when Totapuri comes and teaches him Advaita Vedanta, and he merges his mind in that limitless consciousness which illumines all our lives and attains Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Extraordinary events. But now, there it did not stop. You would expect, having attained the acme of spiritual experience, it did not stop there. A sudden change came over him at that point. He now looked back at the world which he has utterly forgotten. In his own words, having reached the roof of the house, now he looks back at the rest of the house. He has left behind the ground floor, the first floor, and gone to the roof of the house. He says, when you find out the roof of the house, the material which is made of, and you look back upon the rest of the house, you see this, the first floor and the ground floor, the staircase, they are all made of the same material. Having attained God and forgotten the world, when you look back upon the world, you see that same divinity pervading everywhere. He has now reached the roof of the house. Now what does he do? He looks back. Where? To us. To the millions and billions in the world in his time and in centuries to come. To us. To now in the sudden, that love which he has for Ma Kali, that love is now directed towards us. Why? Why? Because it's the same love. Now he finds the Divine Mother in all beings. And he sees the suffering, the need for spirituality, the ultimate solution to the problems of life. Sri Ramakrishna says, everything else in life are all like zeros. No matter how many zeros you have, the total value is zero. But if you put one before them, every zero gets a value. Whether it's family, whether it's prosperity, whether it's career, whether it's politics or education or sports, whatever we do in life, ultimately the value will still be zero unless we have a spiritual core. That one is there. In whichever form, whichever religion. It's a sign of maturity to engage, to become spiritually awakened. So, this accumulated spiritual treasure he has, how to share it with all of us. His beloved Ma Kali in the form of all of us. He says, 3 friends were walking, and they saw a high wall. They were curious, what's on the side of the wall? With great difficulty, one of them climbs up. So, on that other side, a mela, a festival is going on, great joy. And he's so happy, he jumps over on that side. And the other 2 are left wondering what's going on. The second friend climbs up. He also dances with joy. Oh, how wonderful. And he jumps also. The third friend, last one. What's going on? He climbs up and he sees the great joy. He's about to jump and join his friends. But then he thinks, all those poor people in my village, all those suffering people, they don't know about this great joy. They don't know about this wonderful thing which would transform their lives. who will tell them if I jump also? He turns around. As if Heri Aschanti. Samastiku Kahivaku, Samastiku Nei Jivaku Seti. So that is Sri Ramakrishna. He turns around. He sees Kali, he turns around to all of us. And then he goes to the roof of the house in Dakshineshwar. And he calls out, Ke kothaye achish, tora ai. I was thinking, today we give Vedanta talk. We give social media posting, announcement online, poster. Vedanta is not like that actually. The traditional Vedanta is the student has to want it. Sri Ramakrishna, his way of social media posting is a divine social media posting. He does not go anywhere. No advertisement, does not tell anybody, does not call it. He goes out into the night sky, Dakshineshwar, into the darkness and the stars. He shouts out, where are you all? Come. And people started coming. All of them, including Narendranath Datta and others. Rakhal, Swami Brahmananda, who established this ashrama. So these people all came, and Sri Ramakrishna poured out his teachings to them. But, remember, he's still doing the same thing. That Vyakulata, love towards Kali, for God, is now the love towards God in all beings. But, one person is special. Everybody notices. Narendranath Datta is special. Vivekananda is special. So Sri Ramakrishna seems to love him asama, not the same kind of love for everybody. Vivekananda says, one thing we see about Sri Ramakrishna, we see his amazing ecstasies, samadhis, extraordinary teachings, a spiritual superman. But he says, those who actually met Sri Ramakrishna, talked with him, spent time with him, what impressed them most, above everything else, was love. That, he says, this is an extraordinary love. He says, even our parents, Narendranath Datta says, even my parents don't love me in that same way as Sri Ramakrishna loved. And others felt his love for Narendranath is more than his love for others. And at one point, someone says, Amra ki baner jole bheshe esechi. So, he has lived near the bank of the Ganga. And the Ganga is near Bay of Bengal. So because of the high tide and low tide, so there is sometimes flood water. And sometimes it recedes because of the high tide and low tide. You normally will not see that in a river far away from the ocean. It flows in one direction. But every day, you will see the Ganga flowing in two directions. I remember in our monastery, sitting by the bank of the Ganga one day, one monk, elderly monk, he had not come there for many decades. He had been there when he was under training decades ago. So, bahut din pare aschanti, mo pakhare asi nadi dharare basile. Dekhchun Ganga ipote jauchi. Then he told me, "Acha, change hegala na. Amma bele kintu Ganga seipote jauthila." I did not have the heart to tell him. Every day it changes. So, baner jale. So, when the water recedes, you will see a lot of debris, wood, branches of trees or whatnot will come floating down. That means it's just discarded items. And someone says, are we like that? Everything is Narendranath Datta and not us. But there is a reason. Swami Buddhananda, very great monk of our order, makes a brilliant analysis. He says, this asama bhalavasa, this unequal love for Narendranath, is because of his equal love for all of us. Why? Because he knows Narendranath is like Sei Patira Loko, he will not jump over the fence and disappear. He will come back and tell all of us. He will come and share with everybody. That's why he has a special love for Narendranath, because he loves all of us. He knows that will be the vehicle for transmitting his spiritual treasure to all of us. So he teaches Narendranath Datta. And Vivekananda, we know, the Vedanta of the forests and mountains to the cities of the world, democratizing this religion across India and across. What he achieved is extraordinary. In 10 years, 1893 to 1902, in 10 years, just think about it. He crosses over to the west and spreads Vedanta in America, builds a bridge between the east and the west, over which, over 100 years, so many great swamis and yogis and even Buddhist lamas and philosophers, so much has been transmitted, the ancient heritage of India, to America and through America across the world. Aji, World Yoga Day hochi through United Nations, which is because a few yogis from India, Pattabi Joyce, Krishnamacharya, B.K. Sayangar, semane gale America and they taught there and kick-started a revolution. They had no armies, they had no organization behind them, they had no money. So these series of spiritual teachers, they traveled, and because the quality of what they were teaching, that was so wonderful that the people there grabbed it and internalized it. So yoga, Vedanta, Bhakti, Krishna consciousness, say New York start hela. So like this, so many teachers have gone. Paramahamsa Yogananda. So there's a wonderful book, American Veda, Phil Goldberg. So he has written the influence of Hinduism on the West over the last 100 years. And he starts with Vivekananda, that Vivekananda coming to the United States. That's one side of Vivekananda. The other side was when he came back to India. And his other achievement was awakening his countrymen, us Indians, to a sense of their greatness and glory and this impetus towards political freedom first and, coming back to the heights of and exceeding the heights of the past glories of India. So this was how Sri Ramakrishna made Vedanta practical through the instrument of Vivekananda. It's not just Vedanta in the books, it's Vedanta in school, college, hospital. I remember once in our Narendrapur Ramakrishna mission, a group of German delegates had come. And I was asked, they wanted to meet some senior Swamijis. I was a young brahmachari at that time. I was asked to come along. And this German delegate, very serious, Germans, very, very serious. So they said, we have some questions. First question, why do you serve? In Christianity, it says the Lord has said you have to serve the poor and the helpless. That's why we're serving. Why do you as Hindus serve? Hospital, school, college, kahin korcho apne? So our Swamiji is immediately about to answer. They said, stop. Interpreter. German ne koi jauchandi, interpreter koi jauchandi. Stop. Panchta prashna, we'll finish, then you can answer. So, thik achi. Panchta prashna kari gale. Very nice questions. Amar jemtia, amar bada Maharaj se kohuchandi, pratham prashna ta kon thila? Luckily, I had written it down. And I showed him, Maharaj, this is the question. And the Bada Maharaj, or Asaktanandaji, he said to others, it's good, e pilata gancho bhalo korcho. Nale, amara bejjati hi jata. Why do you serve? And the answer Maharaj gave to the German says, because that divinity we worship in the temple, we see it in all beings. Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. And this is one of the teachings, how Vedanta becomes practical. To see divinity in all beings, Vivekananda says, my God the poor, my God the hungry, my God the ignorant, my God the wicked. These are the objects of my special worship. And how do you worship the God as the sick God? So with medicines. If you go to our hospitals in Vrindavan or Benares, you will find one day in a year, there is actual worship of the patients. Rogi Narayan. But the whole spirit throughout the year is we are doing a spiritual practice. In the schools, when the children are taught, we are doing a spiritual practice by giving education there. That's our worship to the students. Everywhere the Ramakrishna mission does work, which we think of as social work, service. It is not service for us. It's not social work for us. It is Vedanta for us. It is Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Serve all beings in the knowledge that they are Shiva. It is very interesting that this basic idea of Vedanta, how, Swami Vivekananda gave us a motto, Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha, for your own liberation and for the welfare of the world. Now this is a philosophy not just for us monks, it's a philosophy that all of us can adopt and should adopt. Who am I? What am I? Why am I here? My goal is self-liberation, self-realization, moksha, nirvana, whatever you call it. The same goal which Vivekananda had, the same goal which Bhagavan Buddha had when he had set out as Siddhartha. That is also my goal. Self-liberation. Atmano mokshartham. But also, and jagat hitaya cha. for the welfare of the world. And sometimes we monks, we debate, why this and? Why not just nija moksha pai, my own liberation, that's it. Or, for the welfare of the world, why both of them together? More manachi, I used to study an exam here. So once I had a discussion, I was very interested, I used to come to the Ramakrishna Math here. Once I had a discussion with one of our professors there. He must have retired by now. And I asked him, sir, what is your opinion of the Ramakrishna mission, Ramakrishna Math? I didn't tell him I was closely associated. So he said, they do good work, but there's a peculiar, there is God, Bhagavan, Geru Apinchundi, Shida Kon Darkar. Bhala Kama Korcho Seti Koro, E Bhagavan is so Darkar nahi. So his idea is only welfare of the world. Why this urge for spirituality, moksha, why that? And there are others, among us sannyasis also. We should meditate and study Vedanta and do vichara and do bhakti and attain enlightenment and freedom. Why this school and college and hospital and work for them? But Vivekananda said, cha in Sanskrit means and, both of them. And you notice the same teaching going back through the ages. If you go back 2000 years ago, Jesus Christ in Middle East, his followers, remember they are all Jews. So they had, their religion is a religion of commandments. And there they are asking Jesus Christ, which are the most important commandments? Those of us, we grew up in Hollywood with films, we saw 10 Commandments, very famous movie. But it's not that they have only 10 commandments. They have some nearly more than 500 commandments in the Jewish religion. Vidhi nishedh, do this, don't do that. So they asked Jesus Christ, what is the most important commandment? And his answer, you see the beautiful answer. He says, love the Lord thy God with all thy soul and all thy might. Ishwaranku bhalo pao. Love God. Samaste bhavila, ha, thik achi, good. And then he says, and one more. Love thy neighbor. Love the other person. Tako bhi bhalo paibo. Your community re, ghare re jomane achanti, pakkare jomane achanti. Love all other human beings also. The same and. You could ask, why not just love thy neighbor? Why God? Or just love God? Why love thy neighbor? But and, both of them. Go further back, thousands of years back, Kurukshetra battle, Sri Krishna talking to Arjuna, and he gives the entire pura Gitaro Nirjas Dochanti, the sutra for the whole teaching, practical instruction. Mam anusmara yudhya cha. Contemplate me, remember me, Krishna Kochanti, and fight the battle of life. Not just remember God, not just do your duty, both. Do you see the same hand is coming down from ancient times till today? Fight the battle of life and remember me. Remember me and fight the battle of life. Ma manusmara yudhya cha. Thousands of years later, Jesus Christ is saying, love the Lord thy God with all your heart and love thy neighbor. And, same thing. Ajyasiki, Swami Vivekananda Kochanti, Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. The reason is in Vedanta. The reason is that these two are not separate realities. That I will realize God, I will become enlightened. What about the world? Forget, they will take care of themselves. I'm not bothered. A private spirituality is not very spiritual at the end of the day. We pursue our own welfare, our own peace of mind, our own elevation. After some time, we will realize we can't ignore the world. So, and the other way around. Not interested in spirituality. I just want to activist. I want to change the world. After some time, you'll realize you'll end up in deep frustration, deep meaninglessness. Unless you have a spiritual core, working in the world can only lead to trouble and frustration and disappointment. With a spiritual core, work in the world will become a sadhana, a spiritual sadhana. Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Here is the great formula which Sri Ramakrishna gives to Swami Vivekananda, and on which all our activities, not just school, college, hospital, it is school achi, mandir achi, but our spirit is mandira or school, ekka spirit re. Kitchen, your meditation room, ekka spirit re. ବାହାରେ କାମ କରୁଛ ଆଉ ମେଡିଟେସନ ରୁମ୍ରେ ବସିକି ଧ୍ୟାନ କରୁଛ, ଏକା ସ୍ପିରିଟ୍. What is the spirit? This Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Swami Ranganathanji very beautifully he would put, what is spirituality? If I close my eyes, I find peace within. And when I open my eyes, my attitude is, what can I do for you? Same thing as Atmano Mokshartam Jagatitaya. Our problem is when I close my eyes, no peace, unhappy, disappointed, unfulfilled. And when I open my eyes, not what I can do for you, what can I get from you? Therefore, we don't get peace in life. Just the opposite. Internally, I am at peace, and externally, my life is a life of service. I am grateful that I can do something for God in all these forms. These are not two things. The God you find within is the God you see there. What is in the roof of the house is also in the rest of the house. The same Ma Kali he found Sri Ramakrishna in the temple in Dakshineshwar. He looks at the world in all these millions of beings and he sees the same divinity everywhere. Therefore he says, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Seeing Shiva in all sentient beings, serve them. That is the worship of Shiva. One might say, but I don't see Shiva. ମଣିଷ ଭିତରେ ଶିବକୁ ଦେଖିବି ମୁଁ ତ ଦେଖିପାରୁନି. ମନ୍ଦିରରେ I can have more ବିଶ୍ୱାସ ଅଛି, but ମଣିଷଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଭଗବାନ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ଶିବ ଅଛନ୍ତି, I can't see. All right, Shiva bhave. Create a bhava internally. ଈଶ୍ୱର ଅଛନ୍ତି କି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ହୃଦୟରେ, with that bhava I serve. If that is also not possible, Vishwas, ଠାକୁର କହିଛନ୍ତି, on that ground I believe, I don't understand, but I believe God is there in all beings. So Shiva Vishwasi. Start with Vishwas. Dhire dhire seta bhava hejivo. You will feel, a deep feeling of the divine presence will come. That God is there in all beings. And afterwards it will become knowledge. It's not that I believe, I know God is there in all beings. The great psychoanalyst Carl Jung, he was very interested in Vedanta. He came to India also. He visited Belur Math also, Carl Jung. At the end of his life, an interview, he was asked, do you believe in God? Carl Jung says, when I was young, I did. So interviewer naturally asked, so now you don't believe? He said, no, now I don't believe. I know. I don't believe anymore. That I know God exists. So we must move from faith that God exists in all beings, to a bhava, feeling of the presence of God in all beings, to an actual experience to see practically God in all beings. Let us go actually to the practical teachings of Vedanta of Sri Ramakrishna and see how to actualize it in our lives. I will go into that part and then conclude. I mentioned yesterday one book. This book, Sri Ramakrishna Upadesh. They are available in English in Oriya also. And Swami Ashokanandaji, who was our Swami in the Vedanta Society of Northern California in San Francisco, he said, this is a classic. One day the world will carry it around in their pockets. Say bhai rachi na? Oriya rachi? Right. This is the book in Oriya. So the world will carry it around in its pockets. I don't know how much I read it, but it's in my pocket. And in my bag whenever I travel. So in this book, Swami Brahmananda, who established this ashram, whom Sri Ramakrishna regarded as his closest disciple. And since his name was Raja Maharaj, so Raja, my nickname before I became a monk is Raja. So I used to feel a kind of kinship, a closeness with him, I guess. He collected this, the choicest teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. If you open the book, you will see, 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, just short passages. I will read out the first 2 or 3 passages, just 2 or 3 teachings. You see how wonderful, how precise, how Vedantic the teachings are. Sri Ramakrishna says, I'll read it in the original Bengali and then translate. Swami Brahmananda worked on this when he was in Benares. And there is a story that one night he would close the door and write this. And one night he had a vision of Sri Ramakrishna appearing before him and telling him, I did not say this, I said it like this. So I say, it's compiled by Swami Brahmananda but edited by Sri Ramakrishna. ফার্স্ট টিচিং, মানুষ আপনাকে চিনতে পারলে ভগবানকে চিনতে পারে। স্ট্রেট ফরওয়ার্ড, ମଣିଷ ନିଜକୁ ଚିହ୍ନିଲେ ଭଗବାନକୁ ଚିହ୍ନିପାରିବ। If you attain self-realization, who am I, you also attain God realization. This is the core teaching of Vedanta, Tattvamasi, you are that. ନିଜକୁ ଠିକ୍ ଠିକ୍ ଜାଣିଲେ ଈଶ୍ୱରକୁ ଠିକ୍ ଠିକ୍ ଜାଣିପାରିବ। ବଟ୍ ନିଜକୁ ଚିହ୍ନିବ କେମିତିଆ? See the next sentence. আমি কে ভালো রূপ বিচার করলে দেখতে পাওয়া যায় আমি বলে কোনো জিনিস নেই। If you inquire carefully, who am I? Who am I in the sense, what am I? Am I this body? Which I take for granted. Yeah, I am this body. I am this person. He says, if you inquire carefully, you will see nothing corresponds to the word ami, I. See, a word, there's an object which corresponds to a word. When I say book, this is the object which corresponds to book. When I say shirt, this is the object which corresponds to the word shirt. When I say I, what object corresponds to it? We naturally say this one, this one. And Sri Ramakrishna says, inquire, take a close look. হাত পা রক্ত মাংস ইত্যাদি এর কোনটা আমি? যেমন পেঁয়াজের খোসা ছাড়াতে ছাড়াতে কেবল খোসাই বেরোয়, সার কিছু থাকে না, সেই রূপ বিচার করলে আমি বলে কিছুই পাইনি। When we look at ourselves, this body, am I this body? Notice something interesting. This body changes from childhood, babyhood, to childhood, to youth, middle age, old age. Tremendous change. That little baby is this middle-aged or elderly person. You will not be able to recognize it. Even your mom might not be able to recognize you. The body has changed so much. And yet I say, I am the same one. I say that. By law, you are the same person. Your school leaving certificate will say you are the same person. Common sense tells me, memory tells me, I am the same individual. And yet the body has changed tremendously. If I am the same individual and the body has changed tremendously, changing and unchanging, they cannot be the same thing. So I cannot, there's a body, no doubt about it, but I cannot literally be this body. All right, I say, no, I am not just this body, I am the mind in this body. Well, mana, deha, mana, miseki, it's a bundle. My thoughts, feelings, emotions, I am a person. That's the English word person means this body-mind complex, this individuality. So I'm a person, or manata, that's what I identify with. Most educated adult people, they'll identify with the mind. They will not literally say I am a body. But that reasoning applies. Sri Ramakrishna says, vichar kar it, carefully inquire. He says it's like peeling an onion. You're looking for the real onion, but you just get skin, layer after layer of skin. You will find the mind also. Am I really the mind? The mind is a flow of thoughts, of emotions, perceptions, judgments, memories. And they're continuously changing. Just today itself, from the morning till now, how many times sleepy, then how many times alert, how many times bored, how many times excited, how many times annoyed, how many times relaxed, in one day itself. And in one life, how much change. Imagine our minds 20, 30 years ago, when we were teenagers, how different it is now. When we were school kids, how different it is now. When we were babies, we can't even imagine. A baby's mind is like an alien mind to us. And yet, it was our mind at that time. This is our mind now. The mind changes even faster than the body. How am I the mind? Self depends on memory, we think. By memory, we are connected that I am the same person. Not necessarily. I met a person who takes care of elderly people in Switzerland. And he said there's a lady in a senior care facility there in Switzerland. And she was very devoted. She spent some time with very senior swamis and ashrams in US and all. She has wonderful stories. And this gentleman told me, I go to see her as often as I can. से मतलब बहुत सुंदर सुंदर गप सब कहते से को केबे को आश्रम जाइथिले को महाराज को देखथिले स्वामी निखिलानंद and others in New York. She had seen all of that. Now she has lost her memory. किछि मने नै तांकर से बसी थांती and she always loved the mountains. So somehow से senior care center रे तांको गोटे जो घर देइचंती, she has a blazing view of the Swiss Alps from that window. So what she loved she can see now, but she has no memory in it. So she says, I go to her and I tell her, So such and such thing happened, then you said this, you met that Maharaj. And she says with a sweet smile, oh, did I? Acha, inta hetala. She had herself told those stories to him. See, the memory is gone. But has the self gone? The self, the Atma, the person is still there. Just the memory has gone. That means this person is not dependent on the memory also. We may lose all our memories. You'll still be there. You'll be the witness to the fading memory, but you will still be there. You are fine. So he says, what corresponds to I, not the body, not the mind, not even memory, not even thoughts, emotions. What? And he says, when you peel back, you will find no object corresponding to I. He says in Bengali, Ami bole kichui paine. There's nothing which corresponds to I. So I don't exist? Is that what you are saying? If Sri Ramakrishna had stopped here, he would be a perfect Buddhist, Shunyavadi. Yeah. There's nothing corresponding to the I. But he does not stop here. One more sentence he adds. Sheshe ja thake tai atma chaitanya. This is a Vedantic conclusion. So what remains, what is the remainder after your inquiry process? That is the self. What remains? You know that you still exist, but you are not the body, not the mind, not the memory, not the intellect. Those are there, or they may not be there, but you're still there. What is that which still remains? That is nothing objective. Objective is like onions, the skin of onions. You keep removing, finally you'll find no core at all. But what remains is this, what we call consciousness, awareness, isness. In Vedanta we call it Sat, Chit, Ananda. That remains. And that I am. But that's not an object. That is that to which all things are objects. But it is itself not an object. It illumines, knows everything. Yo vetti sakalam nacha yasya vetta. Who knows everything, who experiences everything, but which cannot be known by any method of knowledge, any instrument of knowledge. He says, Sheshe ja thake tai atma. Amar amitto dur hole bhagavan dekha den. When you disidentify with the ego, body is there, mind is there, ego is there, but I am not that body, mind, ego. And what happens? When as one sadhu put it very beautifully, jo cheez jahan ki hai Mahatma ji, usko wahin rehne dijiye. Keep things where they belong. So old age, wrinkles, they are in the body. And let them there be in the body. Don't say, I am wrinkled. I am consciousness. Don't contradict yourself. How can consciousness be wrinkled? People are very worried. I am overweight, I have to lose weight. No, the body is overweight, and you have to lose weight in the body. But you are not overweight. How can consciousness be overweight? All right, even more interesting. We don't think in this way. This is a change in paradigm. Even more interesting, the mind. Mind is upset. Well, you don't be upset. The mind is unhappy. Well, I am the witness of the mind. I am not unhappy. I see the unhappiness in the mind. The mind is angry. We never say, there is anger in the mind, I am the witness of the anger. We don't say that. We say, I am mad at you, I am angry. No, he said, don't take that anger upon yourself. The anger was not there earlier, the anger has come now, the anger will go away. You were there before the anger, after the anger, and you are there during the anger. The anger does not stick to you. You, the self, we, the self, we are beyond body-mind, and therefore the properties, attributes, qualities of the body-mind, see them where they belong. That's in the body-mind. I am fine. Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj, one thing I liked very nicely, I read about 2-3 times. He was very ill in his old age. He was the president of the order. I think, these stories are demonstrations for us. As we get older, these challenges will come to all of us. How do you face them with spirituality? So one day, Swami Shivanandaji, president of Belur Math, in Belur Math, at night, whole night, he suffered from asthmatic attacks. He couldn't sleep. Next day in the morning, the monks went to offer their salutations, as we do our custom. People had heard that last night Maharaj could not sleep. So some monk asked, Maharaj, how are you today? Kemon achen? He said, fine, I am well. Said, but we heard you have had asthmatic attack all night. Then Maharaj is saying, oh, shorir, ekebari bhalo nei, ekdom bhalo nei. Oh, you are asking about the body? No, not fine at all, not good at all. So he is clear for him naturally when he says, I, how are you? He means consciousness. He is aware of the suffering of the body. He is aware of the body and the suffering of the body, but he does not take that suffering upon himself. Another time in Banaras, he was very ill. At night, high fever and unwell, feeling very unwell. And the next day in the morning, he said, I am fine today. Last night, in his words, Baba Vishwanath eshe duti ke alada kore dilen. Baba Vishwanath asiki duita ko alga kore dile. He doesn't explain. Duita ko mane kota. I and body mind. So, body mind, I am not the body mind. Then what happens? Sri Ramakrishna says, this is all point number one. All of Vedanta is packed into it. This is already a fact. Sri Ramakrishna says, what is the method? Bichar kole dekle. Bhalo roop bichar korle. This is a Vedantic inquiry into who am I or what am I. Then what happens? Number two. Dui rakom ami ache. Ekta paka ami আর একটা কাঁচা দুই প্রকার there are two kinds of ego one is a ripe ego one is an unripe ego আমার বাড়ি আমার ঘর আমার ছেলে my house my children my properties এগুলো কাঁচা আমি this is unripe ego আর পাকা আমি হচ্ছে আমি তার দাস আমি তার সন্তান the ripe ego unripe ego my children my wife or husband, my parents, my house, my property. And the ripe ego is, I am the servant of the Lord. He is the master, I am your servant. Or, I am the child of the Lord. He is the father, he or she is the mother. For Sri Ramakrishna, God was always mother. So she is the mother, I am the child. That was Sri Ramakrishna's identity throughout. He would always think of himself as a child of the divine. I am the child. My mother is Shakti, Mahamaya, Kali. This is ripe ego. Then he adds, Ami shei nitto mukto gyan sharup. I am that eternally free consciousness. That's also ripe ego. Very interesting. Generally in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you will find a stress on ripe ego. I am the child of God. I am the servant of God. But this Vedantic, I am pure consciousness. Generally, I think M left it out. Here Swami Brahmananda, he clearly says, Paka Ami, not the Bengali Pakami, that's different. Paka Ami, ripe ego, is I am the child of God, God is my mother. I am the son of God, God is my father. Or I am the servant of God, Lord is my master. Or I am pure consciousness. I am the witness consciousness. I am not body, not mind, like Shankaracharya sings, Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. That Shivoham, Sri Ramakrishna calls Paka Ami, the ripe ego. And then he adds here something very interesting. এক ব্যক্তি তাকে বলেছিলেন আমার এক কথায় জ্ঞান হয় এই মতো উপদেশ দিন. Somebody asked Sri Ramakrishna, teach me in one sentence so that I become enlightened. Very wise person. Otherwise Sri Ramakrishna whole Kathamrita is there, 1000 pages. He says, teach me in one sentence so that I become enlightened. তিনি বললেন, Sri Ramakrishna said, ব্রহ্ম সত্য জগৎ মিথ্যা এইটি ধারণা করো ইহা বলিয়া চুপ করিয়া রহিলেন. Brahman alone is real. That existence, consciousness, bliss alone is real. The world is an appearance. That much he said. And then he said, assimilate this, contemplate this. That was his entire teaching in one sentence. And then Swami Brahmananda adds, ya kahi ki se chup hoye gele. Sri Ramakrishna kept quiet after this. This is an emphasis. Mane aur kichu kahibar nahi. Swami Brahmananda adds this. Iha boliya tini chup koriya rahilen. Having said this, he fell silent. There's a very funny mistake in the English translation. I think they have corrected it now. Earlier there was a mistake in the English translation where it said, ei bhaira, the English translation thila, se thila, Sri Ramakrishna kahile, Brahman is real, the world is false, or the world is an appearance. Assimilate this and keep quiet. Sri Ramakrishna is telling the questioner, keep quiet. No, Sri Ramakrishna is not telling the questioner to keep quiet. It is Swami Brahmananda adding that Sri Ramakrishna fell quiet after saying this, emphasizing there is nothing more to be said. This is the, if you want in one sentence, this is it. Shankaracharya says, entire Vedanta, whatever Vedanta says, I can tell you in half a shloka. Brahman is real, the world is false, the Jiva is none other than Brahman. You are Brahman. Or even shorter, you are that, Tattvamasi. Then he says, Shori thakte amitto ekebare jay na, ektu na ektu thakei. So after becoming enlightened, will you have no sense of I? He says, no, you will have. There will be a sense of I, and ego will still remain after enlightenment also. Body will remain, mind will remain, why not ego will remain? People think the way texts are written, going beyond the ego, destruction of the ego, think something will, there will be no ego. It's like after enlightenment your kidney will fail or something like that, or your lungs will fail. No, 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 no. Everything will work. Body will work, mind will work, everything will go on as usual. Even the ego will be there, why not? But he says, Jamon narikeler gache bal to khoshe jay kintu dag thake. Kintu ei samanno amitto mukto purushke aboddo korte pare na. So a trace of the ego remains. It's like, he says, he gives an example of coconut and the big leaves falling off. But another example is the burnt rope. A rope which is burnt, it still retains the shape of a rope, looks black, but it can't be used to tie anything. If you blow, if you blow into it, it will fly away in ashes. It looks like a rope. Similarly, for the enlightened person, there is a sense of ego, because you will see this enlightened persons in all spiritual traditions. They will say, I, and they will act. Sri Ramakrishna would say, I will drink water. I will go to Calcutta. So I they use. In Panchadashi, the book which was released yesterday, there is a discussion. What does I mean? And Vidyaranya Swami analyzes this. He says, I means three things. There are three meanings of I. One meaning for unenlightened persons like us, and two meanings for the enlightened ones, for the Jnanis. What is the first meaning of I for unenlightened persons like us is, I am the body-mind, straight away. That's what we feel. That's how we behave. That's what we think. So I means, it's called the ahankara, this body-mind. And then for the enlightened one, what does I mean? Two meanings, primary and secondary. Primary meaning of I for the enlightened one, aham pratyaya, that I am Brahman, chidananda rupa shivoham. What Sri Ramakrishna says, the pakami, the ego, the ripe ego, I am pure consciousness. Or I am the child of God. That also, in a bhakti way, same way. God is my mother, Kali, and I am her child. That's also the ripe ego. So that is the primary meaning of I for the enlightened one. Secondary meaning of I for the enlightened one, he says, ahankara lesha. That is a secondary use of I. They will talk just like us, referring to the body-mind. When Sri Ramakrishna says, I will drink water, he is referring not to pure consciousness. He is referring to the body-mind. So, but when they use it in a very different sense from us. We really mean it, that I am this. The enlightened one does not mean it. Enlightened one is using it to transact with us, to deal with us, to, for relative purposes in the world. If you really push, are you really this body-mind? They will laugh and say, no, I am not. I have given that example of Sri Ramakrishna, extreme example, passing away from throat cancer, terminal cancer, dying of cancer. One doctor told me it's a very bad form of cancer. You can't swallow. All your saliva actually comes out and you can't eat. So one day he's lying towards the end of his mortal existence, and Swami Turiyananda, Hari Maharaj, he was a very young man at that time, he comes and asks, Aji kemti achanti apana? And Sri Ramakrishna kହୁଛନ୍ତି କିଛି ଖାଇପାରେନି ଏଠି କଷ୍ଟ ହୁଏ. Hari Maharaj କହୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ଦେଖୁଛି ଆପଣ ମହାନନ୍ଦରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି. How can you say that to a cancer patient? ମହାନନ୍ଦରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି. And Sri Ramakrishna agrees. He says, "O shala dhoreni se, shala dhari pakche mate." He says, the rascal has found me out. That means he agrees. It is true. Mu Mahanandra achi. How is it possible? As Satchidananda, I am fine. Like Swami Shivananda said, Ami bhalo achi. Body, yes, body is ill. This difference is clear for them. For us, it's not clear. For us, I am just this fellow. So if I've got illness, I am ill. This pain, I am in suffering. He says, যেমন পায়ে জুতা পরা থাকলে লোকে স্বচ্ছন্দে কাঁটার ওপর দিয়ে চলে যায়, তেমনি তত্ত্বজ্ঞান রূপ আবরণ পরে মন এই কণ্টকময় সংসারে বিচরণ করতে পারে. Very beautifully. What can spirituality do to you? He says, just as you wear shoes. You know the story about the king who said, there are thorns in my garden, covered the entire kingdom with leather. And the minister said, you please wear shoes made of leather. So Sri Ramakrishna says, just as putting on shoes, you can walk through a world which is full of thorns. Similarly, with tattva jnana, with the realization of the truth, that I am pure consciousness. Or in the bhakti way also, that everything is my mother, I am the child. With that, with wearing those shoes, the mind can roam about happily, a kontakmaya samsara, very beautifully he has put, this thorny samsara. It pricks you, it hurts you, it disappoints you, it shocks you, it gives terrible blows, terrible blows sometimes. How can you save yourself in the midst of this world? This is how Vedanta becomes practical in our lives. Through jnana, through bhakti, through seva, through meditation. We must take this up seriously. This is the one in the midst of all the zeros of our life. The more we have this one, the more everything will be all right. Sri Ramakrishna says, to every problem, his solution was, more you go to the east, the more is west is left behind. It's difficult for me to give this example in America because they feel bad. More you go to the east, west is left behind. So there is another time Sri Ramakrishna says, the more you go towards Banaras, more Calcutta is left behind. So that example I give, that in Calcutta they may not like it. But so more you go towards Banaras, more Calcutta will be left behind, Sri Ramakrishna says. His answer to all questions was, he would push the person towards God. That will solve your problem. That's a deep solution to our problems. I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada, Swami Vivekananda, may they bless all of us, may these truths become living realities in our lives, and may we all be blessed. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you very much for a patient listening. I always enjoy my visits here. It is, I know, sannyasira kichi gruha nai, bhuvanatrayam, 3 worlds are your house, but I still feel a sense of homecoming when I come back to Orissa, especially to Bhuvaneshwar and to the Ramakrishna Math here.
Thank you, Maharaj. We will have a question and answer session right now. Just like yesterday, anybody who is having a question, they can stand in queue and ask the question. We have a request, just say your name and then your question. And there should not be any personal, questions. I mean, yeah.
There was one outstanding question, the difference between awareness and consciousness. I said that yesterday also. These are English words, and so their meanings are ambiguous. We have to be careful when we use them. I'll tell you what kind of confusion it can create. Those who have read, some of you have read Nisargadatta Maharaj's book. I think it's I Am That. Or how many of you have heard of it or seen it? Some of you only. Some of you have read. So there he says, at death, consciousness goes away. There's no more consciousness after death. You'll be confused. If you have heard Vedanta, you'll say, well, what is he saying? But then he says, awareness remains. So in what sense is he using the words consciousness and awareness? These words are the terms, corresponding terms in Vedanta, in Sanskrit, are very precise. They are very clear. There's no ambiguity about the meanings. The problem arises with using English words. All right. So we all have a sense of consciousness right now, or awareness. You can call it consciousness and awareness. This is the body. If you look inside, there is the mind with its thoughts and feelings and memories. And I'm aware of all of it. I'm aware of my mind, I'm aware of the body. That awareness, that consciousness which we all feel, if you're asked, are you conscious? Are you aware? All of us will say, yes, I'm aware. So is this awareness Atma, Brahma? No, not quite. Not quite. It is like a reflection of the Atman, or a reflection is called a pratibimba, or a limitation, avacheda, of pure consciousness. There is a limitless consciousness which we do not understand right now. It is right here. But that is reflected in the ego, in the mind. And the mind shines with reflected consciousness, and that reflected consciousness is what we feel here. Now sometimes Vedanta teachers will call the Atman, Brahman as consciousness, and this reflected consciousness as awareness. Or sometimes the opposite. And they will call this reflected consciousness, consciousness, and that one, awareness. You have to be careful in what sense they are using. I read recently, I got a shock. Swami Vivekananda says, it is not the body, it is not the mind, it is not even consciousness, Atma. So long we are saying Satchidananda, consciousness, this is not even consciousness. What does he mean? It's not that reflected consciousness, which will disappear. Every day it disappears. When you fall asleep, it disappears. It will come and go with the mind. It's like the moonlight and sunlight. Moonlight is sunlight, but there's a difference. Notice, moonlight changes. There is full moon, quarter moon, new moon. Sunlight is constant. Sunlight is vastly more powerful than the moonlight. Moonlight is a reflection of the sunlight from the moon. Moonlight, originally sunlight, but there's a difference also. Similarly, reflected consciousness is also pure consciousness, but there's a difference because it's reflected through the medium of the mind. All right. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Pranam Maharaj, আমার নাম সুপ্রতীক চক্রবর্তী. I feel very glad to say that I am the same alumni you share. You have told that you are a student of DM school. I am from regional college. I am studying
wonderful.
here. Maharaj.
So he's an alumni of my school.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. মহারাজ আমার প্রশ্নটা হলো ঠাকুর শেষে স্বামীজিকে বলছেন যে রাম যে কৃষ্ণ ইদানিং রামকৃষ্ণ কিন্তু তোর বেদান্তের দিক দিয়ে নয় মহারাজ হোয়াট ডাজ ইট মিন অ্যাকচুয়ালি
Yes. That's another part, a wonderful relationship between Thakur and Swamiji. Thakur is preparing Swamiji for transmitting that spiritual treasure, whose benefit we are getting today. He ensures that Narendranath goes up to Nirvikalpa Samadhi and attains. Narendranath wanted that, so he attains it. But then Sri Ramakrishna asks him, so what do you want next? Then Narendranath is saying, now I want to remain in that state. Maje maje eshe ekটু snacks খেয়ে নেব, but then I'll go back into that state. And Thakur scolds him, said that, তোর এত হীন বুদ্ধি, you're so small, I thought you'll be like a great banyan tree. And thousands of people, now and in the future also, will find refuge under you. But you are thinking only about your liberation, moksha. Now, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the highest Samadhi. That also, for Narendranath, he is saying that this is still small. What he wants, Narendranath Datta, is to look back from Nirvikalpa Samadhi and at the rest of the world. Go to the roof of the house and then look back at the house. To feel one with everybody. With everything. I did not read it. Sri Ramakrishna is saying one point. Bichar durokamir, onulom bilom, jamon majeri khol kholeri maj. Take a bale fruit or any fruit. The essence of the fruit is the flesh inside, the sweet part, which edible part. But it is covered by the skin. So you can argue inwards, reason inwards from the skin back to the essence of it. The essence of the fruit belongs to that skin, the covering of the fruit. The covering of the fruit belongs to the to the essence of the fruit. You can reason both ways. I am not this, realize pure consciousness. From that perspective, then look at the whole world, and you will realize I am all this. So this is, he ensures, how does he ensure that? Naren Kali Meneche. After Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he makes sure that Narendranath accepts Kali. What does accepting Kali mean? To see the Divine Mother in all beings. And therefore, he will work for everybody. Otherwise, he'll be like that man who goes to the top of the wall and jumps over on the other side. Then what benefit will the world get? So, when he tells Narendranath that Tor Vedanter Mate Noy, what he means there is, in a certain sense in Vedanta, the only reality is non-dual consciousness. There is no scope for the world, for Jiva, even for the Ishwaratva of Ishvara. If world is an appearance, then the God is the God of what? God becomes the absolute. Ishvara then remains as Nirguna Brahman. Saguna Brahman remains as Nirguna Brahman. You as Jiva remain as Nirguna Brahman. From that perspective, if you talk of avatar, everybody is an avatar. Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda in one place says, everybody is an avatar in that sense. Sri Ramakrishna says, I am not an avatar in that sense. I am really an avatar. In the sense, there is Ishvara from that perspective. And Ishvara comes into this world, into human history, intervenes in human history, appears in the form of avatar. Here, in this land itself, 500, 600 years ago, the poet Jayadev, Gita Govinda, he wrote great history, golden history in the tradition of Jagannath culture. And now Gita Govinda is actually sung daily in Jagannath temple. And in the Khandua which is presented to Jagannath, there you will see it's written. Those are words from Gita Govinda. But Jayadev did something else. He wrote a Dashavatar Stotra. The avatars, Ramakrishna and all of that. 9th avatar, Buddha. 10th avatar, Kalki. If you go to Jagannath temple on the western wall, you will find in the frescoes, in the sculptures, Buddha avatar is there, Kalki avatar is there. Those, and Jagannath is called the avatari. Whose avatar? It is Jagannath's avatar. A question you should go down. A question. It's outside. Amir. You should come here, because you can see them. So, in that sense, really an avatar. Not just everybody is Brahman, so in that case everybody should be avatar. No, that's the Vedantic sense. No, really in that sense, in the sense that Jagannath has come as these Dasavataras. In that sense, Sri Ramakrishna says, I am an avatar. Tor Vedanter Mate Noy. Yes. Tell us your name and ask the question. Just move a little away from the from the speaker, otherwise there will be feedback.
Pranam Maharaj, my name is Troy Banerjee, and my question is, who is in control of the consciousness?
Yes. Who is in control of the consciousness? You know who controls? In the car, who controls? Driver. In the body, in this personality, who controls? What controls? Buddhi. Buddhi is the controller of the body-mind. So, in the Upanishads, Kathopanishad, an example is given, metaphor for this body-mind, this personality. It says, the body is like a chariot, and the horses are like our senses. And the mind is, Ghodaro lagam thai, rain, it's like the rain, to control the horses. In a car, you might find steering. And the buddhi is like the driver, charioteer, sarathi. So you are not the driver here. The buddhi is the driver. Buddhi is in control. And what are you then in this vehicle? You are the passenger only. You are not the vehicle. You are not the engine of the vehicle, the horses, the chariot which pulls the chariot. You are not the mind also. You are not even the buddhi who is in control. You are the passenger only. So consciousness is beyond the buddhi. No one is in control of consciousness. Consciousness also is not directly controlling the body-mind. The buddhi is controlling or tries to control. And consciousness is the passenger. That means the whole thing is for the benefit of consciousness. There's a lot of philosophy behind this. In Sankhya, Sanghata Pararthatvat. A complex is made for something outside that complex. So the whole body-mind complex is designed for something beyond this body-mind. In a taxi, Ola, Uber, if you call, it's not that the steering is made for the wheels, or the wheels are made for the engine, or the seat is made for the headlight. All of them are made for you, the passenger. Similarly, in this body-mind, everything exists for you, the conscious being, the one who is present in this body-mind. No one is in charge of you. You are also not directly controlling this body-mind. Buddhi, you're doing it through the buddhi. But everything has been done here for your benefit. Make sense? No. Think about it.
आपनको सामने देखि मोर गोटे स्वप्न साकार है बहु वर्षर स्वप्न था आपको सामने देखा बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद भगवान पाखे कृतज्ञ मोर प्रश्न हूँ जे मोर जन बंधु जी कि कौन से धर्म रे विश्वास करते आम वेदांत भी विश्वास करते से कहले जे कर्म कर फलर आशा कर नहीं मुझे गोटे कॉलेज प्रोफेसर अच्छी आ मत कहले तुम पढ़ाओ तुमको पैसा मिलबनी तो फलर आशा करबनी जीवन केमती बंचबे तार उत्तर कौन हो पार धन्यवाद
कर्म करी जाओ किंतु फलर आशा करनी मो कॉलेज प्रोफेसर काम करी मोर सैलरी मिलनी समटाइम्स इट हैपेंस मुझे जानी आई वाज इन चार्ज ऑफ वन ऑफ आवर बीएड कॉलेजेस इन कलकत्ता आम रामकृष्ण मिशन से जो माने टीचर माने तांकर वेतन आसे गवर्नमेंट रु ऑलवेज डिलेड आ मझे मझे मत दौड़ा पड़ता टू writers building Vikas Bhavan re to get the salary released. Once I went with 2 teachers and just by chance they were very well built people. So I went with them and the clerk who had the file, he said, "Hey, oder anar ki darkar chilo bolun." He thought gunda nahi aschanti motte pite. So I will do my job, I will not get the salary. Why should I do anything? No, that is not the meaning. Every work will have its result. When you said work without desire for results, work without desire for worldly results. Why does anybody work? For money, for getting recognition, for something worldly. But now work not for the worldly results, but for your spiritual development. Tame ei juddha ta karo. What was Arjuna's, the instruction to Arjuna by Krishna? Fight this battle, yuddhasva. And how are you doing it? As a worship of God. As a duty only. Don't do it for the results which are going to come. What will happen? Then your mind will be purified, you will be ready for enlightenment. But what about the result? Will they come or not? They will come. Arjuna won the battle and got the kingdom. Did he not? से कर्म जो करू और ना करू से युद्ध जीती गला राज्य आसी गला. Now if he did it for the kingdom, that much is the reward. He will get the kingdom. But if he did it for spiritual development as a duty without any desire for personal gain, तार kingdom भी आसिला, तार spiritual growth भी है गला. अपना college professor, you work, you will get your salary. Because you are giving something to society, some society will give you something in return. But that's not your primary goal anymore. Your primary goal is your own spiritual development. Both are entirely possible. Krishna never says, don't take your salary. Mu karma jo karchao, salary ne bini. No. Take the salary, but it's not for you. You will use it. You have a family. Who will look after the family? We are sannyasis with an ashram. We don't have a family, but we take donations for the ashram. But I don't own one brick of this ashram also. I am entirely free of it. The greatness of doing work for the as worship of God. Maharaj will run school, many works, big works, multi-crore works for public welfare. And the temple, and devotees. So much work is being done year after year, decade after decade. But Maharaj knows it is his worship of Sri Ramakrishna. He's completely unattached to the whole thing. So this is a great freedom. And it is a model for everybody. In samsara also we can do it. You see, from now on, I am working in the home, in college, in my community as Sri Jagannath ki Sri Thakurun ko seva karchi. This is my attitude. From karma, I have gone to karma yoga. Don't change your Facebook status. From now on, I am worshipping you all as. People will take advantage of you. ताले सैलरी मु रखी दिए प्रिंसिपल कहे आपण कर्मयोग करंतु. Yes. I remember there was a great Swami Ananyanandaji. So I saw him just as a brahmachari in Delhi Ramakrishna mission. Se dine मंदिर को जाऊँ तांको नी प्रॉब्लम थिला मु तांको धरी धरी के नहीं गली मंदिर जीवा बेले गोटे प्रश्न करली हाउ कैन वन वर्क विदाउट एनी डिजायर फॉर रिजल्ट्स सेम क्वेश्चन. I was a new brahmachari. He did not say anything. He went to the arati pare ferile. Again I took him back to the room. Just before entering the room, he looked at me and he said something 30 years ago. Ajiban parishkar bane achi. Just short sentence, half sentence. Disinterested work, my boy, not uninterested work. In English, there are two words, uninterested and disinterested. They have two very different meanings. Uninterested, jemta semta kama kartili, mo ko interest nahi. Disinterested means I have no personal motive in it. ମୁଁ ଭଲ ଭାବେ କାମଟା କରିବି, but I don't have anything personal to gain from it. Karma yoga is the disinterested work, not uninterested work. There is a lady here. I can hear you. Yes.
Maharaj, my name is Surya. My question to you is that in this generation, there are all kinds of people, and some people do some deeds which are considered to be inhuman. So does God not reside in them? And if it does, how can they do such kind of deeds?
Yes. Loko kharab kamo kahin karanti? Why do people do wrong things? Doesn't God discipline them? He does. This is called the law of karma. It's the law of karma. We may believe in it or not believe in it, but this is a standard axiomatic feature of Indian thought. All Hindus, all Buddhists, all Jains, all Sikhs, all Indian religions, we all believe in the law of karma. Karmavad is common to all. One sadhu said, "Ye badi gambhir siddhant hai Mahatma ji." It's a very deep, profound teaching, because our philosophies are so different. In Hinduism itself, so much variety is there. Tremendously different varieties are there. And then imagine Buddhism. Buddhists don't believe in an Ishvara, Bhagavan. Buddhists don't believe in eternal Atma, but they believe in karma. Jainas believe in karma. Sikhs believe in karma. So karmavad is something central to our way of thinking. Our means whole pan-Indian way of thinking. Good, good, bad, bad, and none escape the law. Swami Vivekananda says, what is law of karma? Good will result in good, bad will result in bad, and nobody escapes the law. What is good? Good? Je dharma kariva, tar punya hava, punyaru sukha hava. Je adharma kariva, tar papa hava, paparu dukha hava. This is basically, in a simple form, this is the law of karma. This is the disciplining rod of the Lord. See, it's not like a strict headmaster who will punish. Our own actions punish and reward us. The Lord just, say, like a bank manager, He will maintain your ledgers. You are responsible for it, not God. Okay. So, whatever we have done, the results will come to us. Whatever is coming to us in life is a result of what we have done in the past. Now, so therefore we should not blame anybody, but this should not be interpreted in a fatalistic way. What is coming to us, this is the life we have ourselves built in the past. Our karma is this, the result is this. Therefore, how we behave now will determine our future. So, it is not fatalistic. It's a call to action and a call to be careful about our action. In Indian religions, in which we believe in God, Ishwar Vishwas Jivana Korchanti, there are those who don't believe in God. conception of God. Vishnu hontu, Shiva hontu, Ganesha hontu, Jagannath hontu, Devi hontu, Kali hontu. There will be one thing common: Karmadhyaksha, the giver of the results of karma. That's the one of the common features of God in Hinduism. Karmadhyaksha. So your question is, does God not discipline the evildoers? Yes, they will get the result of their karma. Inevitably, one day, and it is more terrible than any worldly punishment. Yes. I would touch it.
Jai Ramakrishna. Pranam Maharaj, Somnath Dotto. I have one question, that is, does the Supreme Conscious, Chaitanya Sambit, have a choice not to experience or to prioritize, I will experience this more and this less?
In one sense, consciousness only experiences itself. Think about it. What does Advaita Vedanta say? There is only non-dual consciousness. So if there is only non-dual consciousness, in some sense, all of these, all of them, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Now, if all are Brahman, why would you exercise any choice? Mu yakku dekhivi ni takku dekhivi. What is the difference? In reality, in Advaita Vedanta, there is no difference. This exercising of choice, not this but that, is a sign of ajnana. From the highest perspective, there is no need to choose, because for them, samarasa, everywhere, same Brahman. However, from a jiva's perspective, certainly we need to choose. And that choice, you see, how is it done? Pure consciousness, does it choose? No, only through the buddhi. Buddhi itself is a manifestation of pure consciousness. So once we have a mind, a buddhi, a body, then the question of choice comes. And that choice is very important. That choice is determined by the faculty called viveka. Viveka. Sabu Indian language rachi. Vivek. Moro vivek re binduchi. It hurts my conscience. Amar vivek lage amra boli. My conscience. That is the faculty of choice. Is this right or is that right? Is it thik ki na bhul? Shreya na preya. Manisha pakhare Upanishad say to a human being, every moment we are getting shreya and preya. Shreya means that which is good. Preya means that which is pleasant. Now, if the pleasant and the good are same, nothing like it. But generally, it is the opposite. The good is little difficult, the pleasant is the easy way out. Now, I have a choice. And that choice will be decided by the buddhi. And the sadhaka will always choose the shreya. The bhogi will choose the preya. It is not just sadhaka who will, for God realization, for anything in the world, for getting a degree in college or university, you have to continuously choose. Should I go out and party with my friends, or should I sit down and do my assignment? Shreya or preya. In the job, should I accept bribes which will make me rich instantly, or should I stick to my ethics and reject the bribes? Shreya and preya. Moment to moment these are coming, these choices. And this choice, very important. They will decide. Upanishad says, warning, those who pick the shreya, they will attain the highest goal. Those who pick the preya, they will be trapped in samsara. One lady is there.
প্রণাম মহারাজ, আমি মহুয়া দাস। My question is, what is the ultimate destiny of consciousness? এই যে আমরা যাতায়াত করছি, যাচ্ছি আসছি, দেহ ছাড়ছি যাচ্ছি, তো এটা আলটিমেটলি কোথায় স্টপ হচ্ছে? আর প্রত্যেকটা এই যা এক্সপিরিয়েন্সের মধ্যে দিয়ে আমাদের কি এই কনসিয়াসনেস আপগ্রেডেশন বা ডিগ্রেডেশন এগুলো হচ্ছে?
Yes. So destiny is, our shastras are very clear. Moksha, nirvana, mukti, etai destiny. Iho janme ki paro janme. We are all moving towards that. আরেকটা ভাষায় বললে, আমরা সীমার থেকে সীমার বাইরে যাচ্ছি। সীমিত অবস্থার থেকে অনন্তের দিকে যাচ্ছি আমরা। মুক্তি তাই। আর you said, in this process is consciousness being upgraded or degraded? Vedanta, if you be precise, consciousness itself is not upgraded or degraded. Consciousness atma ki brahma, সেটা তো পারফেক্ট, তার কোনো আপগ্রেডেশন ডিগ্রেডেশন নেই, কিন্তু নিশ্চয়ই মনের হয়, আমাদের সূক্ষ্ম শরীরের আমাদের ভালো সংস্কার হয়, আবার খারাপ সংস্কার হয়। অতএব আমাদের সাবধান হতে হবে, মনের মধ্যে আমি কি ছাপ দিচ্ছি, আমি কি দেখছি, কি শুনছি, কি ভাব মনে রাখছি। স্বামী ব্রহ্মানন্দ এখানে আছেন, এক জায়গায় বলছেন, যে উচ্চ চিন্তা করেছে সেই তরে যাবে। সারাক্ষণ মনের মধ্যে সংসারে যাই চলুক, উচ্চ চিন্তা ধরে রাখা, সে পার হয়, তার ফল আছে, বিরাট ফল আছে। আর যে মনকে কাদামাটি মাখিয়ে রেখেছে, সে আরও তলায় রসাতলে ডুববে। তাই জন্য মনের, সূক্ষ্ম শরীরের, আমাদের অন্তঃকরণের আপগ্রেডেশন ডিগ্রেডেশন আছে। আত্মা কিংবা ব্রহ্মের কোনো আপগ্রেডেশন ডিগ্রেডেশন নেই।
জায়গায় থাকে।
কনসিয়াসনেস মানে এখানে আমি আত্মা কিংবা ব্রহ্মের কথা বলছি, সে তো যেমন কি তেমন আছে, কিন্তু মনের পরিবর্তন হচ্ছে। আর মনের পরিবর্তন খুব জরুরি। স্বামী বিবেকানন্দ এক জায়গায় বলছেন, অল উই ক্যান ডু ইজ পলিশ দ্য মিরর। আয়নাটাকে আমরা ঘষে মেজে পরিষ্কার করতে পারি, এটাই এই অবধি আমরা করতে পারি। ওই দ্যাট পলিশিং দ্য মিরর, আপগ্রেডিং দ্য মিরর আপনার ভাষায়, সেটা হচ্ছে মনকে পলিশিং করা। আমাদের সব যে সাধনা করছি ওইটার জন্যই।
আর আমার যেমন
ব্যাস, অনেকগুলো প্রশ্ন হয়ে গেছে।
ধন্যবাদ।
ঠিক আছে।
Swamiji Pranam, Vijay Kumar. As I have understood from you regarding this ego, there are two types of ego you have told. One is pure, that is a ripe and bad ego.
Unripe.
Unripe. That unripe is mine and I and mine. What I have understood it. This I, which is ripe ego, which is actually related to Atma. Though we tell that I am Paramatma is Sarva Shaktiman, we are telling a Master Sarva Shaktiman. Or I am pure consciousness, what we have told it. That is good ego. That is required also. But when I am telling you, I am a doctor, professor, I am a doctor. If I tell my speciality that I do a good surgery, that comes also ego. I feel. But how to reduce, you have to tell it sometimes.
Yes.
How to reduce that one, how to eliminate that ego, and tell it, but you have to express it to others. that
Yes. So that is the ripe ego. I am the child of the Divine Mother, or I am the child of Ishvara, Bhagavan, Narayana. Now, Narayana has come, bahut kripa karke, with great grace, has come in the form of this patient and given me the opportunity for performing seva, puja in the form of that surgery. Yes, I will get the fees. What is my due, it will come to me. But my great joy is I was able to serve Narayana in the form of this Rogi Narayana. Swami Vivekananda says, my God the sick, my God the poor, my God the hungry, my God the ignorant, my God the wicked. These are the objects of my special worship. God in the form of the patient. When you can regard that, that is ripe ego.
Can I just ask more question?
All right, follow
Small
up.
question.
Quick, yes.
Which is not related today, which I have heard it from you earlier, but I could not understand it. What is difference? What is the existence and
Existence and
consciousness? Consciousness are they same or something different?
usually, very good, but a very deep question. Full philosophy class is needed for that. Difference between existence and consciousness. I'll just give you an example. In our waking state, consciousness and existence seem to be different. I am conscious, I'm aware of it. This bottle it has got existence. The bottle is. But I don't feel that it has consciousness or it is the consciousness I can feel only in my mind. And I can feel the existence of the bottle. So existence and consciousness seem to be separate in the waking state. However, consider the dream example. In the dream example, during our dreams, we see so many things. Suppose I see the bottle in my dream. I will think the bottle is existing separately. But when I wake up, I will realize the bottle was nothing other than me, the dreamer, appearing as the bottle. Is it not true? Our own swapnare, amar nija manai pura jagat rupare set of bhasya, it appears before us. So the existence of the bottle in the dream is both existence and the mind, the dreaming mind. Similarly, in the waking state, Vedanta says existence and consciousness are not different. One clue is you will never experience the existence of anything without consciousness. All existence is experienced in consciousness. So if two things cannot be experienced separately, it means, it's a clue, it's a sign that they are not separate actually, they are one. They cannot be separated. You can never experience the existence of something separately, because it's a trick, it's a triviality actually. Experience means consciousness plus object. So you cannot experience anything without consciousness. It follows from the very definition of consciousness. If existence is separate from consciousness, that existence could jada hejivo, it will become an object of consciousness. If consciousness is separate from existence, consciousness will become non-existent. So the two cannot be separate. Last one?
Pranam Swamiji. I am a law student.
Yes.
So my question is, the sadhakas of Lalita Tripura Sundari, they say that where there is liberation, there is no enjoyment.
Please repeat that.
The sadhakas of Lalita Tripura Sundari.
The sadhakas of?
Tripura Sundari. Shodashi. Shodashi. Sri Vidya Marg.
Sri Vidya, yes.
They say that where there is liberation, there is no enjoyment. Where there is enjoyment, there is no liberation. But for the worshippers of Sundari, there is both enjoyment and liberation. Ramakrishna Paramahansa was sadhaka of Ma Kali. Kali, Shodashi Tara, all are the one supreme Shakti. So can we find the blend of enjoyment with liberation in Jagat Kalyana 3-in-1 in his teaching?
Beautiful point. If I say I am not interested in spirituality, I want to jump into the world, enjoy. That's what I want to do. Make merry in this world. I am not interested in spirituality. Then there is no liberation, no spirituality for you. That is the series of zeros without the one. You see what is wrong? It may be fine in the first few years of your life. I tell people, I live in Manhattan. Philosophy there is, it's called the city that never sleeps. New York is the city that never sleeps. And the philosophy there is, you work hard 5 days of the week and party hard 2 days in the weekend. One young man, he says, I used to come to your Vedanta class, I would be partying till 4 a.m. in the morning. Then 11 a.m. Vedanta talk, I will come. Now what is wrong with just work hard, enjoy life, that's it. The problem is, if you put up a series of zeros like that, one day or the other, very soon you will feel empty. The great novelist Somerset Maugham, he said, if you single-mindedly chase pleasure, very soon you will find nothing pleasing anymore. So, that's the problem with just enjoyment. What about moksha? But then you are unable to enjoy this world. See, it's like the movie screen. If you realize it is the screen, it's not a movie. If you if you don't realize it's a movie, see a tragedy or a horror movie, you will be terrified. Your life will be miserable. Only when you realize it is a screen, on that a movie is playing, you'll be free of it. But now you say, switch off all the movies, only screen. Only screen is boring. Movie by itself, without recognizing movie, is terrifying. But it is enjoyable when you realize it's a movie, and then let the movie play. It is said, bhati ched bhato, maikasya bhushanam tat. After enlightenment, world is still appearing. If let it appear, it is the bhushana, the ornament of the Maik of Ishvara. Then that enjoyment comes. What you said, very beautifully put. Swami Turiyanandaji says, what is the goal? Through Vedanta, through yoga, jnana, whatever way, you realize you are Brahman, you are Chaitanya, Sakshi Chaitanya. And then rest of the life, you remain as the child of the mother. With Ma, you pass the rest of your life. He did that exactly in his own life. Yes, that is the Vijnana of Sri Ramakrishna. After Jnana comes Vijnana. Very beautifully put. Thank you. There's a good point to end the night on. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Now, we request Revered Swami Atmaprabhanandaji Maharaj, Secretary Ramakrishna Mission, Bhubaneswar, to give the vote of thanks.
জননীং শারদাং দেবীং রামকৃষ্ণং জগদ্গুরুং পাদপদ্মে তয়ো শ্রিত্বা প্রণমামি মুহুর্মুহু। প্রিয় শ্রদ্ধেয় মহারাজবৃন্দ এবং মাননীয় শ্রোতৃমণ্ডলী, ଦୁଇ ଦିବସ ପାଇଁ ଆମର ଆଶ୍ରମରେ ଯେ ବକ୍ତୃତା ଆୟୋଜନ ହୋଇଥିଲା, ଆଜି ଶେଷ ଦିବସ। ଏବେ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ଦେବା ପାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଠିଆ ହୋଇଛି। ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ଦେବାର ପୂର୍ବରୁ ମୋର ଗୋଟିଏ ଘଟଣା ମନେ ପଡ଼ିଗଲା, ସେଠି ମୁଁ କହିବି। ମହାରାଜ କହିଲେ ସେଇ ଜର୍ମାନ ଡେଲିଗେଟ୍ ଯେ ନରେନ୍ଦ୍ରପୁରରେ ଆସିଥିଲେ, ସେ ପଚାରିଥିଲେ ହ୍ୱାଇ ଡୁ ୟୁ ସର୍ଭ, ହ୍ୱାଇ ଡୁ ୟୁ ସର୍ଭ, ଏହି ସେବା କରିବାରୁ କ'ଣ, କାହିଁକି ଆପଣ ସେବା କରିଛନ୍ତି? ତ ଥରେ ଆମର ବାଂଲାଦେଶୀ ଜଣେ ସାଧୁ, ସେ ଏବେ ସେ ଯଶୋରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ମିଣ୍ଟୁ ମହାରାଜ, ସେ ମୋତେ କହିଥିଲେ, ସେ ଥରେ ଜଣେ ବସ୍ ଜର୍ଣ୍ଣି କରିଥିଲେ, ଜଣେ ମୋଲ୍ଲା ତାକୁ ପଚାରିଲେ ଆପଣ ବାବା ଲୋକ ରାମକୃଷ୍ଣ ମିଶନ? ହଁ, ରାମକୃଷ୍ଣ ମିଶନ। ସେ ପଚାରିଲେ ଘର କେଉଁଠି, କ'ଣ? তারপরে পচিলে আচ্ছা সত্যি করে বলুন তো, এই যে আপনারা সব ভালো ভালো জিনিস দান করছেন, কি উদ্দেশ্যটা আপনাদের, কেন করছেন, কেন, কোন পাই আপনারা এই ভালো ভালো জিনিসগুলি আপনারা দান করিছন্তি? সে তাকে বলেছে না, আপনার যে জাকাত আছে না, জাকাত, জাকাত উদ্দেশ্য হেলা সে জাকাত দিলে সে জান্নাতে যাবে, স্বর্গে যাবে, সেপাই সে তার জাকাত। তো সে সাধুটি কহিলে না, সেমতি কিছু নাহি, আমার স্বর্গ টর্গ আমার কিছু নেই। দেন হি টোল্ড দ্য থিওরি অফ বেদান্ত, যেটি মহারাজ কহিলে। সে বুঝিলে নাকি কোন বুঝিলে, সে চালিগলা পর্যন্ত। তো দিস ইজ দ্য আইডিয়া অফ সার্ভিস ইন মেনি পিপল। বেড়ে বেড়ে ଲୋକମାନେ ଆସିକରି ସେ ପଚାରିବେ ମୁଁ ଯେ ଏଇ ଦାନ ଆପଣ କାହିଁକି ଆପଣ ଦାନ କରିଛନ୍ତି? ଇଫ୍ ଦିସ୍ ସେନ୍ସ ଅଫ୍ ଚ୍ୟାରିଟି or if this idea of Brahman in each soul does not come in mind, they will not understand these things. Anyway, আজি 2 দিন ପାଇଁ যে বক্তৃতা ହେଲା, ଆମର ସତ କଥା କହିଲେ বলা ଯିବ ଯେ ଆଶ୍ରମରେ যেমন ଉତ୍ସବ ଲାଗିଗଲା, ଉତ୍ସବ ଲାଗିଗଲା ଆଶ୍ରମରେ। କେତେ ଲୋକ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି ଦେଖା କରିବା ପାଇଁ, କଥା କହିବା ପାଇଁ, ଯେ ଯାଉଛି ଆସୁଛି ଅପେକ୍ଷା କରିଛନ୍ତି। ସେ ଉତ୍ସବ ଭଳିଆ ଆମର ଆଶ୍ରମ ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଲି। ତ ଆଜିକାର ଏଇ ଆଶ୍ରମରେ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି, ଏଇ ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନରେ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି ଭକ୍ତମାନେ, ଅଧ୍ୟାପକ ବୃନ୍ଦ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି, ସରକାରୀ କର୍ମକର୍ତ୍ତା ମଧ୍ୟ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି, ତାପରେ ଡାକ୍ତର, ଓକିଲ, ବିଚାରପତି, ଛାତ୍ରବୃନ୍ଦ ଏଇସବୁ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି। ଆମେ ଆଶ୍ରମ ତରଫରୁ ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କୁ ଶ୍ରଦ୍ଧା, ଶୁଭେଚ୍ଛା, ଅଭିନନ୍ଦନ ଜ୍ଞାପନ କରୁଛି। କାହିଁକି ଶ୍ରୋତୃବୃନ୍ଦ ଛଡ଼ା ସେ କ'ଣ ସଭା ସଫଳ ହେବନି। ତ ମହାରାଜ ସୁନ୍ଦର ଭାବରେ ଆଜି ସେ କହିଲେ ବେଦାନ୍ତ, how Vedanta can help in every walk of life. A teacher, if he says this is Brahman, Atman, then his service will be much better than what he normally does. A cultivator, a judge, and in all the profession, if he takes this theory of this Vedanta, and he will do better things in his own profession. So on this occasion, I express my thanks and gratitude to all of you. And some of the devotees have helped a lot. And one, Ananta Saha of Calcutta. Another lady she has helped, and I also express my thanks to Sri Lingaraj Police Station, BMC authorities, and in all the sections, our hostel boys, they are our own people. And above all, our SARVAPRIYANANDA ji. ମୁଁ ଶୁଣିଲି, ମୁଁ କହିବାକୁ ଯାଉଥିଲି ବ୍ୟାଖ୍ୟା ତାଙ୍କର ନାଁଟି ସର୍ବପ୍ରିୟାନନ୍ଦ। ସେ ସବୁ ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କର ପ୍ରିୟ, ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସେ ସର୍ବପ୍ରିୟାନନ୍ଦ। ଆହୁରି ଗୋଟିଏ କଥା ଶୁଣିଲି, ମହାରାଜ ମୋତେ କହିଲେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କର ସନ୍ନ୍ୟାସ ହେଲା, ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମର ପ୍ରେସିଡେଣ୍ଟ ଥିଲେ ରଙ୍ଗନାଥାନନ୍ଦଜୀ, ତାଙ୍କର ନାଁଟି ହେଲା ସର୍ବପ୍ରିୟାନନ୍ଦ। ସେ କହିଲେ ଯେ you will be beloved of all. President Maharaj Kohile. So it has come to be true. So we are really grateful amidst his hectic tour program all over India. He has managed to give us 2 days. And he has delivered very nice 2 lectures. I, on behalf of the inmates of this ashrama, on behalf of the devotees who have assembled here, I express my thanks and gratitude to you, SARVAPRIYANANDA ji. I do not know when in the future we shall look forward to those days when he will visit our ashrama again. I do not know who will be here and who will come, I do not know, but he is sure to come and he will again deliver lectures to you. I hope. So I pray to Sri Sri Thakur, ମୋ ଠାକୁର ମା ସ୍ୱାମୀଜୀ ପାଖରେ ମୁଁ ପ୍ରାର୍ଥନା କରୁଛି ତାଙ୍କର ଆଶୀର୍ବାଦ ଆମର সকল ଉପରେ ବର୍ଷିତ ହେଉ। ଏହି କେତେଟି କଥା କହିକି ମୁଁ ଆମ ବକ୍ତବ୍ୟକୁ ବିରାମ ଦେଉଛି। ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ।
It is needless to say, but once again, I am just formally saying that our program ends over here. But one request to our Srinivas Swami Atmaprabhananda ji Maharaj to request our SARVAPRIYANANDA ji Maharaj to come once again, so that we already he has said, okay. In fact, among the audience, this proposal was given to me, so that's why I was requesting. Thank you, Maharaj. And one more request. Prasad arrangement is there, so please do attend the prasad arrangement and please stand in the queue. Thank you all.